Flannery O'Connor once wrote, "What people don't realize is how much religion costs. They think faith is a big electric blanket, when of course it is the cross." If you are anything like me, you are bristling at this statement. Who in their right mind would run to the cross? But what makes it possible for us to embrace hardships, to put aside self-indulgence and indifference to the suffering of others and the earth, to lay down our lives for the people we love and for the common good? What keeps us strong when, like Jesus, we experience the cross in the overwhelming forces of evil that threaten human flourishing and the well-being of our planet? The prophet Elijah, whom we meet in our first reading, hints at an answer. We first meet Elijah in the prime of his prophetic mission, born by God in a fierce battle against the king and queen of Israel, Ahab and Jezebel. These power-hungry rulers violate the covenant, desecrate the sacred altars, kill the prophets, and lead Israel into the worship of false gods. While Elijah witnesses with mighty signs the power of God among the people, Ahab and Jezebel are not converted and vengefully seek his death. In terror, Elijah flees the cost of discipleship. He is paralyzed by fear and despair, his spirit crushed. He tells God, "It is enough. I am done. Take my life now." Wishing to escape the reality and all its pain, he sits under a solitary tree and falls asleep, wrapped in his electric blanket. You may be as surprised as I was by the next scene. With a gentle and humble heart, God looks on Elijah with compassion and offers him no rebuke, no reprimand. Instead, God sends a kindly angel to strengthen him with warm cakes and water, and then to accompany him across the desert to God's mountain. After Elijah has rested, God greets him and seeks to know his heart's desire. God asks, "Elijah, what are you doing here?" Elijah pours out his story, and God listens with loving kindness. Elijah is told to wait on the mountain for God to pass by. On the mountain's edge, he experiences a ferocious wind, an earthquake, and a fire. But God is not present there, but in the gentle whisper. Wrapped in awe and reverence, Elijah enters divine communion. God asks him again, "What are you doing here, Elijah?" Recalling his recent scrape with death, this one question provokes an avalanche of questions for him. What do you value most? What gives you meaning and purpose? Who are you and whose are you? What larger story are you a part of? God poses the most vital spiritual question every human being must answer. What are you doing here? Can you hear God asking you that same question? What are you doing here? What supreme reality can claim your whole heart and free you to live for one another, to love at any cost? Elijah answers these questions not with words, but with his life. He is rested in the warmth of God's loving arms. With spirit renewed, liberated from fear, he rededicates himself to participate in God's saving plan for Israel. In his darkest hour, he discovers that God is love. As John's first letter states, those who abide in love abide in God, and God in them. We love because God first loved us. Elijah whispers to us across the centuries, what keeps us strong in the shadow of the cross is God's ever-present, unsurpassed love, making us participants in the divine nature and friends of God and prophets. Likewise, Jesus assures us, as he did Peter and his disciples, tossed by this deadly storm at sea, "Come to me. Don't be afraid. Step into the troubled waters. I am holding you by the hand. I am with you always, and our friendship has no end." Wrapped in God's love, perhaps we can become more like Jesus, whom Catherine of Siena calls a mad lover who ran to his cross. It was not nails, she said, but love that kept him on the cross.